The Objective News Network, presidential foot dragging on the origins of COVID-19. Hello, this is John Hnatio reporting for the Objective News Network. Thank you for joining us. So why do you think President Biden is dragging his feet on the declassification of intelligence information on the origins of COVID-19? Are you sure you really want to know? Most people think that the reason President Biden is covering up is because he himself has tried so hard to keep the scandal under wraps from the beginning. And he's probably a little bit embarrassed by the way the whole thing was handled. Now, that's probably partly true, especially after reading the recent revelations about Dr. Fauci and the newly released report by the Department of Energy, confirming the belief that COVID-19 was, in fact, genetically engineered and released from the Wuhan Virology Institute in Hubei, China, way back in December 2019. I'm sure President Biden is a little worried about the numbers, too. So far, nearly 7 million people, according to the World Health Organization, have lost their lives to the deadly pathogen and its subvariants. But what's really behind the president's reluctance to tell the whole truth of the COVID-19 matter? Why is he working so desperately to get ahead of the real story here? Well, let us at ONN be the very first to tell you exactly why. It was the United States and the Russians that colluded to first develop incurable pathogens, not the Chinese. It was because the US government itself was the one that secretly teamed up with the Russians' bioweapon scientists to use advanced bioengineering to develop incurable SARS and measles pathogens. Yes, it was our own intelligence community in clandestine cahoots with the Russian Federation that first let the evil genie out of the bottle, all in violation of the Biological Toxins Weapons Convention, or BTWC, a treaty that is supposed to stop the stupidity of killing ourselves with incurable pathogens. That's right, the Chinese aren't the only irresponsible people on Earth. I personally remember very well the morning I went to the old executive office building to meet with the State Department and a staff member on President Clinton's National Security Council. But a lot more people were there than I expected. Members of the Defense Department, the Department of Energy, and President Clinton's advisor to the former Soviet Union, an ambassador working directly for President Clinton on Russian matters, were all there to greet me. You see, I had found out the State Department's International Science and Technology Centers Program, or ISTC program for short, was secretly using American taxpayer money to fund Russian research on how to produce incurable pathogens with groups of Russian bioweapons scientists and engineers. I told the assembled group I knew what they were doing and pleaded with them to stop. But you know what they did? That's right, absolutely nothing. That morning, I resigned from my position of nearly 30 years working for Uncle Sam in protest of the absolute stupidity of what our own government leaders were doing. But that wasn't the end of it. Since then, I have experienced every dirty trick you can imagine in the government's kit bag of ways to silence people and keep them out in the cold. Death threats, shadow banning by the FBI, difficulty in finding a job, you name it, and I've probably been through it, and so's my family. Knowing what I personally know, I cannot overemphasize how important it is for the American people to regain trust in their own government, especially when it comes to massive life or death consequences like these. Nearly 7 million people are dead. But I am here to tell you, at least under the current circumstances, you are very foolish if you do. Yes, you can vilify China too for being stupid if it makes you feel better, but they aren't the only ones. Unless we really get to the bottom of this one, we all may be the ones killed in the next pandemic that's sure to come along thanks to our own collective stupidity. Whether you're an American, Russian, or Chinese, it doesn't really matter. That's the real reason President Biden is reluctant to declassify all that intelligence. It would show us up for having such dim-witted leaders who don't comprehend the extended order effects of their own actions. All of us need to urge President Biden to start laying the truth on the table. It is what it is for March 13th, 2023. This is John Hnatio reporting for the Objective News Network. Please tell your friends, family, and colleagues about ONN. Here at ONN, we are dedicated to telling the American people the truth. Only by knowing the truth and through greater transparency can we possibly hope to get our own government, the Russians, and yes, even the Chinese, under some modicum of ethical conduct that values the safety of human lives instead of killing them. Thank you, and we hope to see you here the next time.